and welcome to ASMR Reality. All proceeds from this channel go to the Animal Protection League. Please consider subscribing. Today, I want to discuss my last few videos because I was talking about the Bible and my faith journey. And most people that have commented have been respectful and encouraging, not necessarily agreeing. I've had one person say that they couldn't watch my channel anymore. So, of course, my earlier videos were mostly all controversial videos, but I wanted to grow my channel, so I've kind of merged it into more of just a variety of a bunch of different stuff. But every now and then I just like to talk about deep philosophical issues that affect our lives. And religion is a big topic. It is, like, for me, I think it is like the number one, it's the number one, it should be everyone's number one priority in life. If you really believe that you get an afterlife, there should be nothing of greater importance. If you get to see all of your loved ones again, if you get to live for millions and billions and trillions of years, forever, in peace and harmony with the ones you love, without any pain, without any suffering, how on earth could you jeopardize getting that? That's really why I think it should be everyone's number one priority. And really my goal in making the videos expressing my views are just revealing my doubt, revealing my inability to be able to have faith, to believe in it, and so in essence I'm not trying to convince anyone to come to my way of thinking. Someone had mentioned that I could be endangering my soul by saying the things I say for fear that I could turn somebody away from God, and that if I did, that the punishment for that in the afterlife is even more severe than for someone who didn't purposefully take someone away from Christianity. So certainly I understand the risk to me. I understand the risk I am taking by having the beliefs that I have about religion, in any religion, because the punishment is nearly the same in Islam. I am going to burn in their hell and also in the hell of the Christians because of the way I believe. And so will most Hindus, or all Hindus. Nearly the entire country of Japan will burn because they are 99% non-Christian. That's the kind of stuff that just it just makes it difficult, and it makes it a challenge for us to unite. I wrote something, just was kind of writing down a few thoughts, thinking about our issues and our problems, and I think the number one thing that divides us is religion. It's the number one thing. It's the biggest difference that people have. That includes myself, in that I am different from Christians. I am different from Muslims. Christians and Muslims are different. We all have these different beliefs, and I think the difference between my belief, say for example, a Christian and a Muslim both believe that the other believer is going to burn in the other's hell. Muslims believe that Christians are infidels and they will burn in the Muslim hell. And Christians believe Muslims are worshiping a false god and that they will go to hell if they don't ask forgiveness and commit to Christ. So, for me, though I don't believe that either the Muslim or the Christian believes the right thing, I don't believe they are gonna burn. So that's where I think a big fundamental difference is. I don't think anybody's gonna burn. I just don't. I don't know what could be after this, but I do hold out hope there is something, and I think that is the best way for us to live. To live as if there is something after this, even though we don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody can prove it. Now, Christians may say they know. Muslims may say they know. Hindus may say they know. But the truth is, they just believe. They don't know. They can't prove. And that's why I say what we know. What we know is what we can prove. And so if we believed only what we can prove, then I believe we would all be unified under we don't know. We do not know what happens when we die. And it's just like looking out at the stars. It's like it's so fast and we don't know if there is life out there. We believe there is. Now, our governments may know and just have not told us. And some of you, if you've had experiences, then you know. But the rest of us just don't know. We've never experienced it. We believe, based on how big and vast of a universe it is, that there's something, logically, there's likely some other life out there. But we can't prove it. Now, maybe our government can prove it. Maybe they have, evidence that they've not revealed to us. But my point is, we can only know what we have evidence of. We can wonder, we can imagine, we can dream. And there's no harm in that, and that's why really I don't have any animosity towards any other religion, because I don't think they're going to burn. I don't think they're wicked. I think they've been convinced. If they're born in America, they're likely Christians. If they're born in the Middle East, they're likely Muslims. If you're born in Israel, you're likely a Jew. And if your dad's a Jew and you're born in America, you're likely a Jew. It's all culture driven. That's what I believe. I used the example in one of the comments about the native Indians. If you can imagine the 32 years that Jesus Christ was on the earth, he was in Israel, he was in Bethlehem, that's where he was born. He was in that area of the world. At that very moment in time, there were native Indians over here in America. Tribes fighting tribes and killing buffalo to be alive and living in teepees and worshiping Mother Earth and Father Sky. The Chinese were in China. A lot of them could read and write, where Jesus was in the most illiterate part of the world at the time. And it's just, he revealed himself to a certain people, but around the rest of the world, nobody even knew what was going on. They didn't know about Jesus, let alone the Old Testament or Moses or anybody else. It wasn't a story that was known. Not in Mexico, not in Canada, not in Panama, not in Nicaragua. No. It just wasn't. These people believed something else entirely. just, if we could just find that way, if we could find the way to just say we don't know, and if everybody could let go, if everybody could just let go and say we don't know. It isn't, people say that the word atheist, that's why I don't say that, hey, I'm an atheist. I don't not believe in something. I don't know what I believe in because I don't know what's out there. I simply hold out hope that there is something after this. And I try to live as good as possible. But time's getting away a little bit, so I want to go ahead and read what I wrote, and we'll just kind of talk through this a little bit. Because I want to try to get off the religious topic. I will just finalize the religious topic with saying it's a huge source of division. And if you don't believe me, just look at Israel and Palestine right now. That is a religious fight. That's what it is. And you can say it's something entirely else, but we all know it's religion. They worship two separate gods, and everybody around Israel worships the same God, and they want them gone. They want them out of the area. Okay. What if Black Lives Matter, Antifa, the climate crowd, and MAGA were all on the same side? Can you imagine? Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the climate crowd, and MAGA. What if they were all on the same side? What if on January 6th, instead of just the Trump people, what if Trump people, MAGA people, all the MAGA crowd, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and all the climate activists, and let's just throw in the Palestinian supporters. Let's just say all of those people were on the same side and believed the same thing and wanted the same thing. What do you think they could accomplish in America? What change do you think they could usher in? Can you imagine? Can you imagine a united people? What they could do? And so ask yourself, why are we so divided today? Why have we been so divided? Why? If you don't see that a lot of this is orchestrated, that this is purposeful division, think about it like this. When you think, if you were to be asked, what are the biggest divisive topics that are going on in today's society? Well, men playing in women's sports is an issue. Abortion is an issue. Just taking those two, look how extreme. Number one, half the world can't get an abortion because they're men. The other half are, the half of the women, the point is very few people are getting them. I mean, yes, a lot of kids get aborted every year, but it's not like the majority of us. It's not like healthcare that we all have, right? It's not like anything that affects every one of us. So it is kind of a fringe topic. The same with trans issues. It affects so little of us. That community is such a small fraction of society. Why is it the main topic of the day? How many things could be at the forefront of our society as topics that are important, that have much more relevancy to all of us getting along or uniting? But instead, these topics are brought in because they are controversial, they are touchy, they are, me just saying the words might get this video throttled down so it doesn't get spread out. Talking about this does not make my channel grow. The purpose isn't of talks like this isn't to make my channel grow. The purpose is to try to find like-minded people that want the same thing, to try to convince people think I like talking about things like this because it's not what I hear talked about. You know, I see the problems we have. Everything is so solvable in my mind. I can see what's happening, and we're all just deceived. You know, think about like the shows on TV that are just so divisive, like the 24-hour news. Like one channel is just like the other side is evil, and the other channel is the other side is evil, and it's just seems so orchestrated. You've likely heard people talk about living in a simulation. Well, it doesn't mean like you're not real. What it means when they say living in a simulation, it's like you're living in a choreographed setting. You turn on the news, they tell you what to believe depending on what channel you watch. If you're the blue team, you watch this channel. If you're the red team, you watch this channel, and you listen to the opinions you're supposed to have, or you know, and that's how we live. And then we hear them fighting amongst each other and debating these topics aggressively, not peacefully, and talking about the other side as if they're just straight horrible. You know, like if it doesn't matter if there's a good person out there that's voting for Trump. If you say you're voting for Trump and you're a person that's not voting for Trump, you automatically think that person is a racist and a bigot and all the most horrible things. Why on earth would you think that? You know, it doesn't necessarily automatically make them. Now, if you're a member of the KKK, are you more likely to vote for Trump or Biden? Certainly, I would say Trump. So when the red team has that fringe of society, it's not anything they're propping up. It's not like they're proud that those people are part of their side, but they're there. And the same thing with the blue side. They have the fringe, the people that want to defund police and let people out of prison on no bail, and it makes our streets far more dangerous. But it appears like the blue side does listen to their fringe, where the red side, it's like they try to hide their fringe. You know, they secretly want the support, they want the extra votes, but they don't want to highlight them or make policies on what they believe. But on the blue side, it does appear that the policy setters are the extremes. And so I see like the madness of the division, when in reality it doesn't have to be like this. All of our differences, it's like the abortion issue. Everybody made a big deal that the Supreme Court said, hey, Roe versus Wade is over. It's not this is not a federal issue. We are the federal government. It is not our job to police this activity. So what happened is the states got to decide. That's the way everything should be. Nobody understands. Well, I take that back. Very few people understand that these are the United States. If we were all the same, then why on earth would we not just be one continuous country? It was designed to allow us to live our individual ways. 50 states with 50 different preferences united under one common idea of freedom. But so you might live in a state where 80% of the people don't want women to be able to have abortions. Well, what's going to be the law? They're going to significantly restrict access. Or you may live in a state that's 80% liberal and says, no, we want women. That is the beauty of the United States. states that you would be able to, you know what, I want to migrate to one of those other states. You're free to do it. You don't need a passport. If you live in Indiana and you want to move to California, you just go. You don't need a passport to do it because you're an American citizen. But if things are a little bit different, like people might smoke marijuana, you just go to a state that it's legal, right? There's a lot of them out there. And just find a state that it's legal. Like I live in Indiana, but Michigan, it's legal. So I know a lot of people that drive up to Michigan to get gummies and things like that. It's just what they do, you know. But I think that's the way it was designed. That's the best way it could be. That way we're not all the same. Like no one is identical, you know. I don't want everybody to be the same. I just want everybody to be peaceful and unified under certain premises, under certain ideas that make us all humans, peaceful humans, you know. And I think that it has to start with smaller groups. It has to start with a movement, you know, a group of people, and then a small town, and then a bigger city, and then a state, and then it can spread. That's how ideas spread. That's how movements spread. But I just think it's going to be a long, long time, especially based on my comment section. You know, it's a lot of people just are really, they just cannot change, and we're so far away from being able to change. I fear that it would just take something unbelievable. I do think, like, if something extreme happened, like if a UFO did come and like a civilization from somewhere far away came and said, hey, you know, we are here and here's what we know about the universe, and they give us 1,000 addition, we could fast forward in 1,000 years of our evolution. You know, like think back just 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been talking to you on the internet. If you watched a TV show and you missed an episode, you didn't get to see it until like they showed reruns in a year. You couldn't have watched it. You know, cars didn't have backup cameras. You know, you didn't have push button start, you had a turn key. There weren't electric cars, you know, just 20 years ago. And then think 20 years before that, you know, people had cassette tapes and VCR tapes, and think 100 years before that. I mean, we didn't have electricity, you know, or indoor toilets. We would go outside, I mean, in just a short amount of time. So imagine what things will be like in 1,000 years. So I do believe if it's going to be very different, and I do believe that the future is this mindset. I think we have to let them go. We've got to let them go. And I think that even like my message to Christians would be this: the message in the Bible is that Jesus will return again. And if you read Revelations, things have to get really, really bad for him to come back. So if you can imagine like everyone just saying, okay, we're going to walk away from this, that would be pretty bad. That would be about as bad as you could get, I would think, if people just said, we got to do this, right? And I think that's the issue. I think deep down, a lot of our issues come from the fact that subconsciously Christians want Jesus to return, and so seeing the world get worse and worse actually gives them like a benefit. It allows them like to think, okay, well, this is bad, but this is a sign of the times. Maybe Jesus is coming back now because things are getting really bad. It's almost a justification for wanting it to be bad. And I fear that it's a big part of why people just don't take it seriously don't take it seriously. I say is, if you read the book, it's obvious what it takes to get to heaven, and it's very difficult. It's not as easy as mainstream Christianity leads it out to believe. That's another thing I find from my comment section is like, if that book is correct, most people that believe they're going to heaven will not. And they just don't know because their preacher doesn't say, turn with me, if you will, in your Bibles to Leviticus chapter 12, where you can see all the things you're doing wrong. I just don't know. I worry. I worry that our divisions are going to delay true peace on earth. More peace. I don't think perfection is possible. Humans are just flawed by nature, and I think there's some inherent things within us that are always going to have. There's always going to be situations where unexpected, unfortunate things will happen. But if we can minimize those, minimize suffering, minimize evil deeds, minimize greed, minimize corruption, I just think that a lot, and that will happen when we unite. It's like all those groups. If we stop and we let go of these petty divisions, who cares what your skin color is? Who cares what my skin color is? Who cares what happened in the past? Let's focus on today. Let's focus on today and what are the problems we face and how can we unite? How can we form unity to fight the forces of evil? That's when we the people will actually win. We the people do not win when we fight, when we are this divided. And choosing the red team or the blue team is not the answer. The answer is finding a way to have a purple team. That's the answer. Continue to have a two-party system. Why? Why is there a two-party system, and why has a third party never ever been able to be successful? Because the simulation it gives you, this is an illusion of choice. Yes, there's differences, but the point is there's always two sides. There's always fighting. Always. If you have to be one or the other, it's like a coin toss. Some people are going to be blue, some people are going to be red. And if you join this team, you sign up for what they believe. And you sign up for what they believe if you're on this team. And that's always going to keep us fighting. The truth is, there is a purple team. There truly is. There is a purple team that everything, that's what we are. We are a purple team. We are not blue and red. And all we have to do is come together on the same team. We can still have differences, but we're on the same team. That's when unity will happen. And that's what we have to do. We have to get rid of these old systems, these old ways of thinking. It doesn't have to be this way. Instead of having two, we would be better off having 30. That's really when you're going to hear so many different ideas. And if you think about 30 groups, that's a lot better than having a 50-50 divide. That's why we are so divided. 30 groups, you're going to hear a lot of great ideas, and many of these groups will team up. It's just how it should be, And I think the other thing would be that if we want to keep a two-party, a blue and a red team, then what we do is we hash out these differences as blue and red, and once a decision is made, we come together under that and we just deal with it. And when it's election time again, let's talk about them, and whoever wins, we accept. And that's another thing that we just don't do anymore. We don't unite under a common leader. We keep our divisions. And so if your side didn't win for 4 years, you stay in angst and, complain and look at anything, even the good that is done, and just say you can't even acknowledge the good because it's against your team. Anyway, that's what I think we have to do. I hope you enjoyed these ramblings tonight. I hope that maybe you'll at least consider staying open to people like me. At least being understanding and realizing that they're likely good people. It's the same way what I do with Christians. It's like, look, I know why you believe what you believe. It's the same with Muslims and Jews. I know why you believe what you believe. I think if so long as our number one priority in life, which is our religion, which is our eternity, so long as that is different, we're going to struggle. We've got to get that number one, the big one. If we can't unify under the big ones, the small stuff is never going to get worked out. Just not. So, I don't know. We got a long way to go, don't we? Either you guys have to make me Christian, or you guys are going to have to come around to my way of thinking, or we just all have to become Muslims. Who knows? Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.